pick that at home yourself? Stop.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us in today's Board of Supervisors meeting for, just making sure I got the date right, May 21st, 2024. And I call this meeting at 6:32 to order. So if I can have everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll be followed by a moment of silence for Pamela Kelly, District 1 Outstanding Senior of the Year, and then followed by an invocation by Russ Gagan, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm going to have Margie Palomino lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join us in a moment of silence.
Our kind and most gracious Heavenly Father, at the beginning of this meeting, we ask for Thy Spirit to be here, to guide and lead these leaders of our county, that Thy Spirit and Thy influence will be with them, that the decisions they make and the things and the decisions that they have to make, Thy Spirit will be with them to guide them always. We're indeed grateful for this town, for our leaders, and for all those things that they do for us. We ask Thee to protect our town and protect everyone that helps with that. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.
Okay, before we get started with our first presentation, I did want to just make a quick announcement that District 2 Supervisor Vito Chiesa is joining us this evening from Washington, D.C., where he is representing the county on a lobbying trip to secure federal funds on behalf of Stanislaus County. So he's back there, and our rules do allow him to teleconference in for the meeting, so he will be with us. Do we need to do a microphone check, or have we done all that?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, proof of life for Vito Chiesa in Washington, D.C. And I believe County Council also has a short announcement.
Right, coming out of closed session, there's no reportable action.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So tonight, we're going to start off with presentations. Just a special evening whenever we get to acknowledge our Stanislaus County outstanding senior citizens. And then followed by that, the fun continues with recognition of the 2024 Stanislaus County Recycling Poster Contest winners. So first, I'd like to start off with Martha Martin, President of the Commission on Aging, to kick us off in tonight's acknowledgement and appreciation of all the seniors throughout the county.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Board of Supervisors, our guests, and the public who have joined us this evening in celebrating and honoring these special 5 outstanding volunteers. During May, the nation observes Older Americans Month. Tonight, the Board of Supervisors recognizes the contributions of 5 outstanding senior volunteers, representing one from each supervisoral district. Words such as dedication, commitment, perseverance, taken out of context, hold little meaning. Taken together, they represent the essence of who these outstanding senior volunteers are. These 5 recipients of tonight's award are a different kettle of fish. They didn't pass the buck. They are the proverbial salt of the earth. Tonight, we celebrate and honor them. These 5 seniors serve as examples to other seniors, as well as examples for all of us. They are the whole enchiladas, the good eggs. They personify JFK's famous quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." So it gives me great pleasure this evening to introduce our recipient from District 3.
Right. Supervisor Terry Withrow will be presenting that acknowledgement and certificate.
Okay, thank you very much. Karen, come on up here. So our District 3, representative from District 3 this year for our Outstanding Senior Citizen of the Year is Karen Princevale. So Karen, we get these little cheat sheets here that you and I have never met before, but we get to, maybe I knocked on your door one time, maybe, I'm not sure. But it talks to us a little bit about you, and I'd like to just share a little bit about what it talks about here. Karen is a 30 years, she retired in 2022 after 30 years with our Behavioral Health Recovery Services. A 30-year employee, which that doesn't happen very often. And I don't think we had a chance to recognize you. I don't think you came here for that when we did that. So this is it, right here. We should have another certificate for her here. So looking back a little bit, Karen is married. Karen to Kim. Is Kim here tonight? Kim, very good. Kim, her partner of 17, 18 years. And I think we got married in 2018. Very good. And you were an Army brat, you said. You described yourself as an Army brat. So you said you went to high school in Germany. Okay, I'm going to let you talk in a few minutes and you can get into all this. But you probably were all over the world, I'm sure. So you're very involved since your retirement. You still are very involved. Besides just working in BHRS for 30 years, just think of all the service and the people you helped and your commitment to the community from that, you didn't stop. And it sounds like you continue to work now. Because you're very young, you can continue to keep going. And you might even want to come back to work, I think. Okay.
Volunteering's fine.
Okay. So you're involved in Healthy Aging Associations and a Certified Instructor for the Young at Heart training program. And as I read through here, I can see you're very involved in health and keeping elders, people who are older, healthy, helping them work out, exercise, all those type of things to keep them young.
And it keeps me young.
It does. It's very good. And it's obvious it's keeping you young. So you encourage older adults to get involved in healthy aging associations. It looks like you're, everybody who talks about you, okay, I'm going to get rid of my cheat sheets now. Everybody who talks about you just says what a positive influence you are in their lives. And we all have people like this in our lives that are just constantly up, right? Life's hard. It's not easy, and it's always when we find somebody like Karen that you come upon in your day that can really turn your day around and have you look at things happening in a different way and be more positive. And everything that I read here just talks about how positive of a person you are, how kind you are, how you spend time listening to them. And that's another unbelievable characteristic, which I'm sure as coming from BHRS, you've got to be a good listener. And there's so many people out there that want to have someone to talk to that don't listen to them. And so you're and for not for bad reasons, but you just but there are there are a lot of lonely people out there. And you sound like such a kind heart and an individual that we all need to be more around. So I just want to thank you for all that you're doing for this community, all that you've done over your 30 years of working for BHRS, working in this community, and then all that you continue to do in the community. And on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we want to congratulate you on being the Outstanding Senior Citizen of the Year for District 3. And I'm going to let you talk now.
Oh.
Tell me, so how did you get from Germany to Modesto?
I was originally from Modesto, and my father had passed when I was young, and my mother remarried someone that was in the service. And we traveled all over the United States and Europe, and we went to high school in Germany, and it was quite the experience.
In Stanislaus County, what's your favorite spot? It's okay. Congratulations, or I'm gonna let you say whatever else you'd like to say.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I enjoy teaching young at heart and volunteering any way I can. It keeps me young at heart. It keeps me active as well. And I enjoy people. So.
Thank you very much, Karen. Congratulations.
Our next recipient, who is a well-deserving lady, is Patricia Glatke. And I would like to have our supervisor come down and do his shtick with her.
Right.
Mr. Greywall.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It is such an honor and privilege to recognize you as District 4's 2024 Outstanding Senior Citizen of Stanislaus County. So Patricia actually worked for the county as well. She worked for the Sheriff's Department, retired in 2001. Patricia's lived here since 1965. She was married to Terry McGrath for 32 years prior to his passing in 2021, mother of 2, and an extended family of 4 more children. Mrs. Glatke is the proud grandmother of 10 grandchildren and 1 great-grandson. That's an accomplishment. 12. No, everyone counts. Everyone counts. 12. No, absolutely. So Miss Patricia currently serves on the board of directors for the Friends of the Modesto Library.
Yes.
We thank you so much. You're part of the capital campaign of raising $3 million through philanthropic dollars throughout the community, and I know you guys are more than halfway there.
We are.
Well, that is really amazing, and we as a county really appreciate you for doing that. I know there was some county dollars, some state dollars, but they're taking something that's already going to be a good library and turning it into a great library.
That's right.
And we thank you so much. And for that, in 2018, you were presented with the Shining Star Award for her outstanding support through volunteerism and library advocacy and raising money to support Measure L and Measure S for library sales tax. So you're all about the library. I don't know, but
It's only half.
yeah, it's only a part of everything, a small part of everything else you do here in the county. So I'm gonna tell everybody about everything else you do in the county. She has fundraised for the Salvation Army, for the Modesto Gospel Missions, decades-long volunteer for the Kiwanis of Modesto, received their Distinguished Service Award not once, but twice. Ms. Glatke served on the board of the Retired Employees of Stanislaus County. As a part of her service on the board, she organized quarterly luncheons, meetings, annual picnics, and was instrumental in raising funds to support their statewide association and conference. So, with all this volunteer work that Patricia does, she still feels, and her quote, "I always get more out of it than I put into it." And you put a lot into it. And we appreciate that. Her enthusiasm motivates others to volunteer, improve their communities, and she is well known and respected. And I know she's well known and respected because you have a whole entourage here with you of friends and family. And to bring somebody out to a county board of supervisors meeting on a Tuesday evening with this nice weather, they really love you. They really do. So we appreciate it. So it is our honor and my honor as representative for District 4 to congratulate you on being named 2024 Outstanding Senior Citizen for District 4. Patricia, would you like to say a few words? I really hope you will.
Okay. So one of my volunteer activities is with the North Modesto Kiwanis Club. So if you're a graffiti parade or graffiti, you have an interest in classic cars, our event's coming up in June, and so come out and see us, all the classic cars. And we raise money for all of the children's
community, any children's nonprofit, that's where the money goes that you spend at the car show or at the parade. And I don't know what the count is now because I was gone, but last I heard we had 800 cars registered for the parade already. So it's a big deal in Modesto. I hope you'll all support it. And then the library, Supervisor Grable. Okay, so with the library, we've got this capital campaign going, and our Friends of the Library group is small. Our biggest budget was like $30,000, and we're going to raise $3 million. So any of you who want to help donate to the library capital campaign to make it the best library we can make it, we'd appreciate your help.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then I just baked a cookie for you, a sweet for somebody that's such a sweet person. Thank you.
You're going to have to bake a few more for a few more recipients, Mr. Crable.
That's on their supervisor.
Our next recipient for Outstanding Volunteer Senior Citizen is Pat Massetti from the city of Patterson. So if Supervisor Condon, come on up.
It's such an honor to recognize the former mayor of Patterson, Ms. Massetti. Pat Massetti has spent over 60 years serving her community through a multitude of nonprofit organizations. As a longtime resident of Patterson, California, Ms. Massetti has worked for Stanislaus Credit Control, Inc. for 21 years and for Westside Realty for more than 10 years. Throughout her life, she dedicated her time to volunteering in leadership roles with over 25 nonprofit organizations, including the American Cancer Society, California Farm Bureau, United Way, Red Cross, Hammond Senior Center, MOVE, and several more. Ms. Massetti was a recipient of many firsts in Stanislaus County. She served as the first female mayor in Stanislaus County for the city of Patterson for over 10 years. While dedicating herself to serving and supporting those in her small community, she was honored as a recipient of the first of 10 Outstanding Women of Stanislaus County, Seroptimus First Lady of the Year, and Outstanding Volunteer with the Eastern Seal Society. Ms. Massetti currently serves on the Stanislaus County MOVE Board to directly improve the lives of residents through this nonprofit organization, which provides needed transportation to elderly adults and those with disabilities. Her service at the Patterson Hammond Senior Center has been deemed irreplaceable by those who serve with her, and her continued volunteer work at the Senior Center benefits all senior citizens in Patterson. Ms. Massetti has been fostering the next generation of leaders and volunteers in Patterson and the West Side since her days as Patterson's mayor and her work at the Hammond Senior Center. Many young people have engaged in civic volunteering because of her example she set forth and because of her civic activism. I consider myself one of those. So now let it be resolved that the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors does hereby thank Ms. Mayor Pat Massetti for her exceptional contributions to the Stanislaus County and congratulate her for being the 2024 Outstanding Senior Citizen for District 5.
Our supervisor doesn't understand that my husband says never give her an audience or a mic. Because she has a hard time saying nothing for a long period of time. It's a real honor to receive this particular award, especially from this supervisor, because I was one of his grandfathers when his grandfather ran for the mayor of Ceres. I made a big deal about that. And then I knew his father when he was running around in short pants. So you can tell that I've been around a long time. Actually, I was born
many, many years ago in a very small western town of Littlefield. Waylon Jennings was born in the same town I was born in. His name is on the marquee. How come mine isn't?
Yours is going to be on the marquee in Patterson.
It's a real honor to be here. I would really like to ask those who came this evening to support me just to stand up real quickly so we can thank you for being here for me this evening. And I cannot wait for this next baby to come along. When's it due?
September.
September.
Yeah, we're going to have a little girl.
We're going to have a little girl. You got it named already?
That's on the wife. She names, I named the boy, she names the girls. But Pat might be in the running, you never know.
Oh, you never know. No, don't name it Pat. Thank you very much.
I love you.
I love you too.
We're not going to let Danny outdo us.
Our next recipient
Oh, those weren't packaged by us. They're actually from Piccadilly's Cafe, so they're safe to eat. I heard that. I wanted to make sure you didn't think we packaged them. We didn't package them. We have no liability of what happens. It's on Piccadilly. And we had some before we came out, so we're okay.
Okay, well, I'm glad you guys have full tummies because we're going to go on and introduce another recipient from the city of Turlock. And we all know about virtualism and artificial intelligence. Well, this is the real deal when we talk about Neil Skip Young from Turlock. Well, we'll wait on Mr. Young. We're going to talk about Pamela Kelly from District 1. Pamela is unfortunately not able to be here with us this evening. She is from the city of Oakdale, and Supervisor Buck Condit is going to share a little bit about Miss Kelly. Buck?
Thank you. I got to spend some time with Mrs. Kelly a few weeks ago to present her resolution a little early. Friday the 17th, she passed away. She was under hospice care. So I got to spend some time with her, and I know that's sad, and like we've been here all night long celebrating all of our seniors, tonight we're going to celebrate her life, right, and all that she has done. She spent 20 years in the city of Oakdale, lived there, was involved in the city and its residents from the beginning. She worked for the Citizen Auxiliary for the police department for 12 years, taking care of record keeping, blocking traffic for parades when they have the rodeo come through the town. She also, in 2006, started the Oakdale Rescue Mission. It was her passion to care for homeless and people of misfortune. And she served in many different roles of that, from the CEO to the executive board, spent 20 to 50 hours a week during that time that she served with Oakdale Rescue Mission. She did a great job taking care of those people. And I don't mean those people. She took care of everybody that needed care. She's going to be missed. And her respect for her family, for the city, for the people of Stanislaus County, just will not be replaced for a while. Somebody will have to step into her place. She was a great woman. She spent years at her church mentoring, ministry for the children, for adults, being a mentor. And She never expected anything, never expected a pat on the back, and really she was very humble. When I got to meet with her, she was just really overwhelmed that we were there to present something to her. And never expected it, just was very humble. And so we celebrate her today, Pamela Kelly, as the Senior of the Year for District 1.
On behalf of Pamela Kelly, her family wishes to thank Ellie and Leneke, dear friends to our mother, for nominating her. We also like to acknowledge the time and energy it took for those deciding who would receive these honors. We appreciate your time and dedication. Lastly, we would like to thank Supervisor Condit for making time to visit and present to our mother in her home. She was humbled and grateful. We have a fifth recipient this evening who is from the city of Turlock. And this gentleman is Neil Skip Young. And presenting on his behalf is Mr. Buck Condon. Buck.
So I'm presenting this on the behalf of Supervisor Vito Chiesa, who earlier was announced that he's in Washington, D.C. And so I'm reading over Mr. Young's bio here, or his resolution. And you look at all the things that he's accomplished and things that he's done in his life. His last name is really fitting, Young, because he is active, boy, I'm telling you what. So Mr. Neil Skip Young was in the Marine Corps for over 30 years. Served in the Korean War and did 3 tours in Vietnam, earning the Air Medal, the Combat Action Ribbon, Presidential Unit Citation Ribbon, Navy Unit Commendation Ribbon, National Service Defense Medal, Korean Defense Service Medal, United Nations Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Defense Service Medal, Korean Presidential Unit Citation Medal, Republic of Vietnam Cross of Gallantry Medal, Korean War Service Medal, and Vietnam Campaign Medal. An absolute, and quoting this from Supervisor Vito Chiesa, freaking American hero. He also has done volunteer work for the Turlock Police Department, serving over 10,000 volunteer hours. He's been there and he's mentored many officers, many of the volunteers. He is actually does their training for volunteers that come into the department. He also received the Volunteer of the Year Award for 2012 and 2015 for the City of Turlock Police Department. And I had to look this up, which was kind of funny. Nonagenarian, does anybody know what that means? That's what he is. That's what they call it. It means he's over 90 years old and he's done all this stuff. An absolute hero. Sergeant Crawford said of Mr. Young, over 19 years, I've witnessed Mr. Young mentor numerous officers, including myself, community members, and volunteers. Mr. Young's life work speaks for itself. So therefore, on behalf of the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors, does hereby thank Mr. Neil Skip Young for his exceptional contributions to Stanislaus County and congratulates him for being the 2024 Outstanding Senior Citizen for District 2. You have any closing remarks, Martha?
Video.
Oh, video, that's right, a video, I'm sorry.
You ready? Hello, everyone. It's very much my privilege to be here with Neil Skip Young at his house today to present the Stanislaus County Outstanding Senior of the Year for District 2 and my district. We can't be there on Tuesday night with you, so I'm here at his house presenting this to him. I'm going to tell you a few things about Skip. He goes by Skip, and there's so much here. He spent 30 years of military service in the Marine Corps, and he has more medals than, if I read them all, we would be here for about 10 minutes. It's outstanding, but he had service in Korea and Vietnam, and he's been married to his lovely wife, Winona. It's 67 years, be 68 years this year, which is a good family man. He's got 4 children, 6 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. So his 30 years of military, as a military veteran, was not enough for him. He got involved in the Volunteers in Police Service, or VIPS, with the Turlock Police Department, where he started, you have 18, is it 18 years?
Yeah, started in 2005.
2005, and I asked him if he was retired yet, as a 91-year-old veteran, and he still has his uniform. They refused to accept his uniform, so he is not retired. He is still a part of the VIPS program. But Sergeant Crawford, who had put his name in, had talked about his ability to train other folks in the VIPS program, going to crime sites, traffic control, volunteering time to make the community better. So it's with great honor that I'm here to present this. His legacy continues. He comes from a family that served. His dad served in World War II, and we're here in his house, and I'm glad I could make it by here. And so on behalf of myself, the Board of Supervisors, I want everyone to please applaud for my friend. I get to stay here, Mr. Skip, Neil Skip. Congratulations.
Well, this isn't the end of the road, folks. All of you sitting in the audience, you who are volunteering up at the podiums, volunteerism is alive. Sometimes you almost have to kick people along to get them to volunteer. It's hard. And I can tell you, nonprofits particularly will tell you how difficult it is to find volunteers. And some who are not the Johnnies come lately or a flash in the pan. You want to find people who are committed and who are passionate about what they do. So I would encourage this audience, whether you're young, you're middle-aged, or you're old like I am, get out there and do something. Do something.
Once again, congratulations to all the recipients tonight, and we really appreciate everything you do for our community. You don't do it because it benefits you. You do it because it benefits all of us. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. All right, well, keeping with the theme, now we have our children who are getting recognized for the 2024 Stanislaus County Recycling Poster Contest winners. And conducting that presentation will be Janice McClendon.
Good evening, Chairman Grewal, members of the board, County Council, and CEO Hayes. Janice McClendon, Department of Environmental Resources. tonight I'm here to present the winners of the 2024 Recycling Poster Contest. This is our 20th year anniversary of doing the poster contest. So we were just talking earlier that the first winners who were kindergarten won the award they're now like 25 years old. So we had over 200 posters submitted for this contest this year from all over the county. The winning posters will be featured in the 2025 recycling calendar. And the posters are also displayed upstairs on a board, so if you have a chance after the meetings to stop by and get a closer look, you can see them. So I'd like to start introducing the winners of the 2024 Recycling Poster Contest. In third place for the kindergarten to first grade from Salida Elementary, we have first grade Melissa Corona Urube. Come on up, Melissa. And for second place, from Westport Elementary, we have kindergartner Camila Serrato. Come on up, Camila. And for first place, from Westport Elementary, we have kindergartner Mark Hernandez de Capano. Okay, for the second to third grade category, from Apricot Valley Elementary, for third grade, we have Lyric Kava. Come on up, Lyric. For second place, from Denera Charter Elementary, we have third grader Ruby Rutherford. Come on up, Ruby. Trying to make room for everybody. This is my first year having everybody show up. For the category from 4th to 5th grade, for third place from Chatham Elementary, 5th grade, we have Yvette Pinata Fonseca. Oh, that's, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. We kind of got that wrong a little bit. That's first place. Sorry. Okay, so that's the second place first. First place, we have from Apricot Valley Elementary, we have Chicago. Congratulations. And then for, is that all of them? Yes. Okay, for the 4th to 5th grade category, we have Chatham. Okay, for the second place, we have Hunt Elementary 5th grader Genesis Soria Jimenez. And for first place from Heart Ransom 5th grade, we have Brielle Martins. And then for the last category, in third place, for the 6th to 8th grade, Salida Middle School, we have 8th grader Alexis Mached. For second place from Glick Middle School, we have 7th grade Heaven Chirac. And for first place, Glick Middle School, 8th grade Claudia Guerrero. And here are our winners for the 2024 Recycling Poster Contest.
All right. Yeah, we'll take it.
Brielle, want to come a little closer? Everybody scoot up. Take a step behind us. Scoot up. Take a step behind us. Okay.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, well, we always try to take a tally of all the school districts in the different parts of the supervisory districts in the county. As always, District 5 dominates. This year they had 5. 2 are questionable because they say Glick Elementary is in District 5. I would like to say it's in District 4, so I just took the 2 votes.
Point of contention on that. It used to be in District 1 before we did redistricting, so I'm taking half.
All right, well, he's got 1 because he had 0 before that. District 3 had 3, and District 2 had 2. So Patterson, Newman, Ceres, Empire, you guys got a lot of artists, and Oakdale and Modesto got to step up their game. All right, next is a presentation. So I like the theme. We have the seniors, then we have the young generation, and then we have those people that are thinking about retirement. So our next presentation is a presentation by Stanislaus County Employees Retirement Association update from Tom Stadelmeyer, Executive Director, and Tom Stadelmeyer will be conducting the presentation. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. It's a tough act to follow. I'm going to respectfully ask that you do not provide me with a cookie. I'm trying to lose some pounds. But thanks for having us. I'm Tom Stadelmeyer, Executive Director for Stansera, and I'm joined here today by 2 of my colleagues that will also briefly speak about Stansera and what we're up to. Stan Conwell has joined me. He's the investment officer for Stansera. Stan's been with Stansera for just over 5 years in the role as investment officer, responsible for implementing and advising our board on policy for investment management of the assets of the plan. I also have with us Kelly Gomes. Kelly is the business and operations manager for Stansera. She's been with Stansera for over 11 years, and before that she worked in the county CEO office for well over 10 years as well. In her time with Stansera, Kelly has worn many hats for us, including playing the role of key support for our board. In her current role, she provides overall business support for the organization, including helping us with staffing needs, partner relationships, communications, and policies and procedures. So after I give a kind of a brief overview of where we stand, especially the financial health of Stansera, I'm going to let Stan and Kelly give an update from their perspective and the activities they're working on as well. Today, as you get ready to approve the updated retirement contribution rates for employees, we want to provide you with an update on the financial health of Stansera and also how we are managing the plan under the direction of the Board of Retirement. The county is really a vital partner for Stansera, and we always welcome your input and direction, not only in this forum, but also throughout the year as you have questions and comments and suggestions for us. I want to encourage you to always reach out to my office. We're there to support the county and the county's needs, and we welcome any inquiries that you have. The county provides critical support to Stansera, and our goal is to manage our program prudently and effectively and to provide maximum value back to our members, back to the county, and also to the wider community. We always appreciate hearing from employees about how important Stansera's pension benefit is to them, and we do our best to continually educate and assist members with their long-term financial needs. And really, long-term is kind of our focus, and that will really be a theme for our talking points today. All right, so I'm going to just start out and bring you guys 4 kind of headlines for what Stansera has been up to. First and foremost, on our plan financials and our funded status, Really, we're in a very steady state. Steady and on track is the headline for our plan financials and the health of the system. To quote our actuary this year, from a financial update perspective, was kind of boring. And boring can be a good thing when we're talking about managing the assets of the plan. Basically, things are running according to our expectations, but we do take a very close look at where we stand financially each year. But the headline is we're steady and on track. From an investment policy standpoint, Stan's going to speak more to the details of it. But this year, with the market environment and some of the changes that are occurring in the marketplace, the board has decided to lean a little bit more into fixed income. So we're going to take advantage of a little bit higher rates, and that can be a very positive thing in terms of reducing the risk to the system and to our members. From an administrative standpoint, the board adopted in the last year a new strategic plan, which is themed as Stansera Cares, and that highlights the key objectives that the organization has. And then finally, one of the things as an organization in the last year that we've really refocused on is engagement with our members. We're all about serving our members. That's the bottom line, is providing a secure financial future to those members. And so we've engaged more vigorously with the member population to make sure that they're well educated on their benefits. To take a little closer look at the plan financials, we have on our material kind of an overview of the activity for the last year. I will say, to bring things kind of fully up to date, even since the fiscal year end, which is reflected in our actuaries reports, the market's done very well, and our plan is right about at $3 billion. That is the highest amount that it's been at. So we've eclipsed some of the negative market activity that occurred in recent years and recovered, as the market tends to do over time. But as of the end of the fiscal year, the ending market value of assets was right about $2.7 billion. It was a positive year from the market perspective, where we gained close to 7% and reflected an investment gain of over $170 million. You'll recall from last year's presentation, we lost about the same amount last year. So it was definitely a year of recovery in the market and positive for the growth of our assets. The rest of the components of the sort of the financial changes in our plan from an asset perspective were pretty steady. Contributions came in about as expected, and benefit payments that we make out to our members of just over $170 million was also on track with expectations. I like to emphasize a couple things on this slide. We'll talk for a second about our liabilities. Each year we work with our actuary to forecast what our liabilities are and what we owe to members. That's valued right now at about $3.5 billion. So there is about an $800 million gap. That's the unfunded liability that's owed, and that amount is paid over time. There's basically each year as we do that evaluation, we determine what is due from an unfunded liability standpoint. And we are on track as the payments that come into the system, we are on track to close that gap year after year. And we're probably looking at about 10 to 12 years into the future when we expect that gap will be closed completely. But as of right now, to preview the next slide, we're sitting in the 75 to 80% funded range. The majority of our assets in the plan do come from investment returns, so it's important that we keep a close eye on our investments and that we're working to have growth of those assets in the plan. And then the last thing I like to kind of lean into on this slide is that our focus, again, is long-term, not year-to-year necessarily. We always want to provide an update and check in with how we're doing year-to-year, but year-to-year can be unpredictable from an investment standpoint. Long-term, it's much more predictable. We have a lot of good data that shows what growth will be over time, and that does prove out. So our focus is always going to be on the long-term and making sure that we're going to meet the obligations to our members. Here's a quick summary of our funded status update, which again ticked up just slightly. I like to focus here on the plan assumptions that we have in place. We're assuming a current return assumption of 6.75%. That's right about the median of where other plans are at. Same with our funded status. We're actually a tick above where the median is in terms of being at about 77% funded currently. Obviously, we want to continue to diligently work on raising that funding level, and I'm confident with the plan in place that that will occur. We also have a cost of living assumption increase of 2.5% and a pay increase assumption of 2.75%. It's definitely worth noting at this juncture that we've seen that be much higher in recent years. Inflation has definitely been a very real factor in the economy. When we make our assumption here, we're not basing it on what's occurred in the last year or two, but we're thinking in the long-term future. So we do anticipate inflation will come down. The government definitely has policies in place to take a look at bringing inflation down. And we expect in the long term it'll come back closer to that 2 to 3% range. But I will say we're engaged with our actuary, and just as we do every 3 years, this coming year we will be working with them on an experience study. The actuary will present to the board the results of that experience study for the board to weigh in and see if it's time to make any changes to our current assumptions. I think in general, based on the results of this year's report, the assumptions have held fairly well. You can look, for example, at our returns over time. Our returns over the last 25 years are just over 6%. But if you look at more recent times, in the last 10 years, we're actually at 7%. So a little bit above that current return assumption. And for this fiscal year to date, just for awareness, we're actually over 8% for the year so far. The next slide, I'll be brief here because really there's not a lot of change. This is an analysis of how the net contribution that the county will pay for employees has changed. Remember, the net contribution represents an aggregation based on what type of benefit you receive, how long you've been an employee. The amount that the county pays can be different, whether you're general versus safety, the amount that the county pays will be different. But the aggregate in total did tick up slightly. It ticked up to 33.24%, which is less than a fraction of a percent, really is what it is for the year. So minor change there. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Stan to talk about our investments.
All right. As Tom mentioned, I'm Stan Conwell, the investment officer at Stansera, and I want to share with you a little today about the investment process that we follow. It really begins with the Stansera board, and we have a wonderful group of folks on our board. Turnover is very low, and each board member has demonstrated a tremendous amount of dedication to the organization. So if there's one takeaway we have today, it's to know that governance matters and Stansera is in good hands. It's the board that sets the policies for Stansera, including the investment policies. The investment policy defines the roles and responsibilities of the board, staff, and outside consultants. It's within this framework that investment decisions are made. The process relies on the input from many different perspectives, with the goal being to invest in the portfolio with appropriate risk and return characteristics to meet the overall investment objectives of the plan. To get to those objectives, our policy first looks at the liabilities of the plan and extrapolates the objectives directly from those liabilities. It can be summarized as the 3 Ps of portfolio management. Our portfolio objectives are to provide a liquidity for the current retiree benefit payments, produce long-term growth to meet future retiree benefit payments. This also includes making up any funding gaps over time, and also to protect the portfolio against adverse impacts by offsetting the risk primarily in those growth assets. It's important to point out that the board takes a long-term view when making investment decisions. For example, in the last year, the board completed an asset liability study, and the investment return expectations considered were for the next 10 and 30-year time periods. A major focus of the asset liability study is the asset allocation, or the mix of assets in the portfolio. The mix of asset classes in the portfolio are a major driver of performance. Recently, the board voted to modify the asset allocation, as you can see on the asset allocation slide. The new mix was driven largely by the higher interest rate environment, which makes fixed income more attractive versus equities. This development allows the plan to de-risk slightly while maintaining the same long-term return expectations. As you can see, the board added public credit, which is fixed income, by reducing exposure to stocks. They also reduced risk parity, adding to U.S. TIPS and absolute return, which are less risky asset classes. The expectation is that volatility in the portfolio will be reduced as the plan rebalances to these new targets. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Kelly, who has more to share.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Tom, for giving me this opportunity to speak today. I'm excited to provide an update on StanSara's ongoing initiatives. StanSara is a critical component of retirement security for our members and their families. Ensuring stable and reliable benefits, we help our members enjoy peace of mind and financial stability in their retirement years. Our operations have a positive economic impact on the community. The financial security we provide translates into real dollars spent within local economies, supporting businesses and contributing to economic growth. Our board members are a diverse group of individuals that are committed to the vision of empowering our members through education, technology, ensuring they can actively manage their retirement benefits. They also uphold our mission to provide comprehensive and financially sound retirement services in a professional, efficient, and courteous manner. Each board member brings unique skills and insights, and together they form a strong team committed to guiding StanSara towards its strategic goals. I want to thank each StanSara board member for their dedication and contributions. We have a couple here tonight, so truly, we thank you for your dedication to our board and to our staff. Together, we are planting the seeds of innovation through nurturing growth, harvesting the benefits of our members and the broader community. With the support of our board, we are committed to providing clear, comprehensive information to build trust and keep our stakeholders well informed. In 2023, we launched our new StanSara member portal, which offers a user-friendly interface for easier access to information and account management. This enhancement is part of our commitment to improving member engagement and support. We have handouts available today on the lobby counter with StanSara's member portal registration instructions. Staff have partnered with many of our plan sponsors and their departments while we roll out this new technology. If any department would like us to set up a small or large training, we would be happy to collaborate with you and your staff. Together with our new pension system and our member portal, this has allowed us to gain efficiencies in many of our processes. With our board's support, we have implemented several cost-saving initiatives, such as the discontinuation of printing and mailing of member statements and advice notices. This positively impacts our budget and staff. Over time, as we continue to gain efficiencies, how we capitalize on them will be equally as important for the organization. We have implemented rigorous compliance measures and audit controls to maintain integrity and accountability of our operations. As a commitment to better communicate and support the value of our pension to our members, we have started to collaborate with our various plan sponsors on how we can highlight this value, especially around recruitment and retention. In the last year, we have been more visible and available for recruitment fairs, various plan sponsors hosted events where we can educate the current and the future workforce of the value of the pension being offered. In conclusion, our theme, Plant, Grow, Harvest, encapsulates our approach. We are planting the seeds of innovation and improvement, nurturing these initiatives to grow strong, and ultimately harvesting the benefits for our members and the community. Thank you for your time and support. We look forward to continuing our mission and making a positive impact on the lives of our members and our community. Thank you, Board.
Thank you so much. All right, any members of the board that have any questions for the presenters?
Just a couple quick comments, if I could. Thank you guys very much, Tom, Stan, and Kelly. Thank you guys very much for the presentation. Very well done. And I just want to, again, I see Rhonda out there, and I thank everybody who's on that board. You can just see how important this is, the management of these funds for the sake of our active current employees and our former employees, our retired employees. A couple things that just stand out. Sorry, this is just the accountant that's going to start pointing these things out. And I always like to say an actuarial is a worser job than a CPA, so I can always have something to point to. I say that every year, sorry. But if you look at the one slide that talks about the various kind of assumptions here, and it was this one here, I think that, I don't know, we get back to that one. And you look at that, that is a moving target. And there is so much that goes into that and so many variables there that we have to deal with every year to try to determine, okay, where are we this year? Where are we going to go? And what's always so, and scares me always, we talk about the $800 million liability. We always pride ourselves as a county to be debt-free, except for our unfunded liability that hangs out there and we have to deal with. And that's how important the work is that you guys do and your board does to manage these funds, because what happens, unfortunately, and we've seen it, I've seen it in my terms of being up here, is when we go through the worst of times, when the economy takes a nosedive and and our revenues start to drop as far as the county's concerned, our tax revenues that help fund services, then just the opposite happens as far as Stanislaus is concerned. This percentage that you provided here, Tom, that talks about 33.24% that the county will have to contribute this year, that number has to go up because the stock market has dropped in value and somehow we have to make that up. And so at the worst of times, when we're cutting all over the place at the county, we're stuck still having to fund our retirement plan. And at the worst of times, like I said, we're cutting services all over and our costs are going up here. Not anybody's fault, but that's just how it works out. It's just this opposite effect. And so it's crucial what you guys do at Stanislaus and how you manage these funds, because it really has, it plays out with regard to what kind of services the county can provide to our community, really ultimately at the end. So very proud of you guys. You do great work, and I enjoy going to these meetings when I can, and being sorry I miss every now and then, and or I'm late. I'm always late, but I appreciate all the work that you guys do and your presentation here tonight. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Terry. Can I just briefly mention, first of all, thanks, Terry, for being a member of our board. We appreciate your contribution. I also want to say, from a staff perspective and a board perspective, we're very cognizant of kind of what you're highlighting here. We know that your budget and Stanislaus has a real impact on it. So it's something we like to stay in close contact with the county, especially as there are changes over time. And that's why we want to continue to keep an open dialogue with you and share together what expectations are. But I have a strong, really a strong belief, and the evidence is that the county's on a good track, and it's really the key is continuing to make the contributions as expected, which the county has always done very faithfully. I believe with that occurring, the long-term health of the plan will be great, and the sooner we get to that 100% funded status and can declare it debt-free, the less risk that we will have, and we're on a right track for that. So thank you, Terry. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. All right. Again, thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for the board members, and our board representative to the Stanislaus board is Supervisor Withrow, who does a great job, and we appreciate him taking the time and making sure everybody's retirements are secure. Thank you so much. Thanks again for the presentation.
Appreciate it.
All right. That is all with all the presentations, and so now I'll be going to public comment period. And my first, so public comment is a time for those in attendance to speak on items not on today's agenda. So when you come up, please state your name, direct all comments to the desk, and so it's fair for everybody. 5 minutes. First speaker card I have is Milt Treeweiler. Treeweiler. That I always confuses me, so next time I'm going to get it, Milt. I apologize, Milt Treeweiler.
You're doing very well there. Yes, Milt Treeweiler. Good evening, board, staff, and citizens. I'm a lifelong resident of Stanislaus County. And I am a hopeful person, but I talk about a lot of subjects that don't seem too hopeful. And I'm going to do that again tonight. Many people today have lost connection with reality. They are living in a dream world. They worship money, power, and pleasure. Psychosis is a condition of the mind that results in difficulties determining what's real and what is not real. Climate change and the harm caused by plastics in our environment are two good examples of where people are not following facts and reality. People have disillusional beliefs. Disillusion is a false fixed belief that is not amenable to changes in light of conflicting evidence. We're at a critical time in our history for our nation and our world. Again, too many people are worshiping money, power, and pleasure. And I've been observing meetings for quite some time, and it's sad that how the dishonest, untrustworthy, and unethical people try to get control over the good, honest, and ethical people. They will try to bribe you, blackmail you, or intimidate you. I'm going to talk just briefly on climate change. Carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. It's a very important gas. Without carbon dioxide, our planet would be a snowball. But we're getting much carbon dioxide. In 1960, we had 320 parts per million. Today, just 60 years later, we have 424 parts per million of carbon dioxide. And it's acting like a blanket. It's warming up our planet. We have to start just recognizing that and making changes. Good records of the Earth's atmosphere, or the Earth's temperature, go back to 1880. The 10 warmest years on our planet have occurred in the last 10 years. Last year, 2023, was the warmest year since global records began in 1880. Today, the average temperature is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. And again, in the oceans this past year, we had the highest record ever for ocean temperatures. And where does this carbon dioxide come from? It comes from transportation, it comes from industry, 39% from transportation, 22% from industry, 20% from power generation. It's fossil fuels. It's fossil fuels. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about plastic. Plastic was invented in the early 1900s. Today, it's in the bottom of our lungs. It's in our blood. It's in our oceans, our waterways, our sidewalks, our gutters. It's everywhere. It's in because it's in our clothing, it's in our cars, it's everything. I don't see much. Well, here's plastic right here. So again, we must be planning for our children and our descendants who have not been born yet. We've got to think ahead. We've got to plan for the future. Who's going to take care of these people? We've got to be the ones. And just one other comment on weapons. I know there was an issue with weapons here this past week and a half. I believe the Stanislaus County should destroy those weapons. They should not be resold to gun dealers on the East Coast. If just one gun is used to kill someone, which is what happened on the East Coast from our Sheriff's Department as we turned them into the East Coast, that is ridiculous. Money is not worth it. I mean, even if we it's not worth it. We could destroy them here in Modesto. We could have one of the blacksmith shops cut them up, or we could have, something like that done. It's just a few dollars, and it could be a police officer in the East Coast or anywhere in the world. Once those guns are used and you're getting rid of them, destroy them. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, any other members of the public that would like to speak on public comment? That's right.
Sebastian Jones. Good evening, Board of Supervisors. You guys have improved. That's good.
That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, guys really have improved. Well, I was going to talk about the health, something like that, but you guys are moving into another era. I had one of your staff members kind of explain that to me because I had some problems. Thought I was going to lose my wife over there at the Paradise Clinic. It took almost a year for them to, well, they didn't remove the cancer, set her go, because I had to get her out of there. But it was almost a year. That patient care is important, and I learned a lot. I couldn't come and speak. There was so much going on concerning my wife, and every day was a target day. But now she's out of danger, thanks to Sadago. And when I say 8 or 9 months, to see this doctor, and then when you go to that doctor, he's not the doctor to see. So that was 3 months wasted. It was a sad occasion last year. It was very sad. But I'm thinking you guys are going into another era, right? You're getting out of the health stuff. I think they was telling me, letting another operation. Okay. Well, I'm just going to hope that it goes well. Better than whatever you had. Because losing a wife for 40 years and everything was just delayed. But she's doing much better. The robot in San Francisco removed the cancer. So she's in recovery. I like that. But if she'd have kept going, it would have spread it. You know, it was sad how they did her. And I know she was wanting me to come down here, but my mind wasn't stable. So, but I hope this new era that we go in is benefit for the less fortunate. And that's all I gotta say, and I'm here to represent the agent on the county senior citizen of the year. I think it was last year, I was just here receiving my reward. So, thank you, and you guys keep doing the best you can do. That's all I can say. I'm trying to change in a different way. Okay, and Terry, you in my district. Stand your ground. Thank you, and God bless you.
Great. Thank you. Any other members of the public for public comment?
Good evening, board members. Bianca Lopez with Valley Improvement Projects. I want to just say that I'm happy to be here today, and I got to see the really cool artwork by the children who were promoting recycling. And I thought it was really nice to see that even young people under the age of 10 understand that conservation projects are a part of making this world sustainable, that they understand that our earth is dirty, but that it must be clean because a happy earth is a clean earth. I really felt their sense of urgency through their art, And so today, I'd like to share a little bit about our sense of urgency here in Stanislaus County as we look forward to the closure of the incinerator, where we burn 800 tons of waste, including recyclable and composting material. And so I was looking back to some documents, and I ran into the lawsuit where Covanta was sued by the county and the city of Modesto. And it just dawned on me that Covanta has been telling you for many years that they're no longer economically feasible. But the sense of urgency on your end is not very clear. On the lawsuit, one of the documents of the lawsuit and the response to your lawsuit on number 8, it states the various reasons why Covanta is no longer economically feasible, and they summarize it in this one sentence, where due to the anticipated changes in law, increased operational cost, steep revenue declines, and other circumstances beyond the control of Covanta Stanislaus, performance under the agreement is no longer practicable or feasible given the fundamental assumptions of the parties' underlying agreement and equitable and legal considerations support rescission of the agreement. That was in 2021. Covanta has been telling you that they are losing money and that they are no longer economically feasible, and I don't get the sense of urgency on your end. Air quality goals have not been met in the last 25 years, and Covanta has violated the Clean Air Act several times. Subsidies for fall solutions like waste to energy, hydrogen, and other bio-industry schemes will not last forever. And we cannot rely on those dirty practices. A just transition must include the workers and community members. We must create a plan sooner than later so that we can help community members build literacy on what zero waste means, what that looks like, and what it feels like. SB 54 will be giving communities, SB 54 is a plastic pollution responsibility bill, and it will be providing opportunities for communities like ours who are transitioning to better practices, an opportunity to bring in money to the county. $5 billion will be available for the next 10 years. Valley Improvement Projects has a seat at this advisory board for SB 54. We have the environmental justice seat. A representative from your very own county is represented in SB 54, and we look forward to bringing those funds to our communities. We look forward to working with the county and the cities to ensure that these funds come to our communities to advance a zero waste plan, but we have to show this sense of urgency, and Mr. Gruwald, to use your words earlier, you need to step your game up. We must implement a zero waste goal and redesign our local task force and secure funding. Please don't let these children's effort to show the urgency bigger than yours. We must act now. And I know that we received a letter in December 1st and that you're doing a cost analysis and that takes time. But really, we knew this was coming at least since 2021 when you sued Covanta. So we look forward to the closure of the incinerator and a just transition that includes community participation. Because without community participation, it's not equitable. Thank you.
Any other members of the public with any comments?
Good evening, members of the board, staff, Eleanor Chase, Myrtle Avenue, Modesto. I come before you tonight to discuss the Stanislaus County Animal Services. Specifically, I would like to ask you to bring back cat vaccinations, please. During the COVID, prior to COVID, there were cat and dog open clinic vaccinations. During COVID, all vaccinations were halted, and the county was able to come up with a solution, which was drive-through vaccination clinics, dogs only. That made sense. Dog on a leash, open the window, shot. Cat out of the box, cat out of the window, cat running loose. It made sense. COVID is done, and we now need to return to allowing cats to have vaccinations at Stanislaus County Animal Services. According to the website, it indicates that there are cat vaccines available. You've got the rabies vaccination, you've got the feline upper respiratory, and the feline leukemia, all on the website, available today. But you can't get those because there are no cat vaccination clinics. I attempted to make a dog vaccination appointment because you're only able to do appointment vaccines. Good luck. There's no appointments this month, next month, July, August, September. I gave up looking in March 2025 to try to make an appointment online for a vaccination appointment. So I would like you to please return to Saturday vaccination clinics for dogs and cats. It was a serviceable function. I know it because I would take my dog and my 2 cats, line up, boom, you're done. I would also like you to maybe hire a receptionist to answer the phones. Have you ever tried to deal with the phone tree there? It's quite unresponsive, and you do not get return calls. So all of this is to say, please, a lot more funding for animal services. This could alleviate the problems of stray and roaming dogs and the growing cat colonies by being able to provide affordable spay and neuter. At tonight's meeting, on your consent calendar, you are voting on the approval of an amendment to the agreement with the Aegis Treatment Centers, LLC, for the provision of narcotic replacement therapy services in the amount of $5 million for the behavioral health and recovery services. I'm not disputing this allocation of county funding, but if the budget can afford this, I'm sure there's some more funding that can be found for animal services. And if this county is striving to be the best county in all of the country, I think you can find a little bit for the animals in our county. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
All right, any other members of the public that have any comments? All right, seeing none, I'm going to be moving to consent calendar. First item, I know that it's been pulled off as item B2. It's been pulled by Supervisor Withrow, and there'll be a presentation. But if we could hold off on the presentation, I also have item B3 being pulled off by a member of the public. So I have a public comment card on item B3 by Bianca Lopez. Are you going to be?
Do you want to do, are you doing B2 first?
B3 first.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to speak on B3. B3 is a request for a public hearing on June 25 about the maximum rates for solid waste services by the Environmental Resource Department. And I would like to request that this presentation be bilingual, that this presentation be considered one of those critical documents as presented in April, that the county acknowledged that translation is key for public participation. And if you are going to be considering rate increases, that you must include this opportunity for all English and non-English speakers to give their input and to listen to the proposal. I would say that I would also request that not only there be interpretation, translation of the presentation, any additional documents or supporting documents that will be provided at this public hearing. In addition to all that, we send out an alert to all of the county residents through their utility bill with an announcement about this rate increase if it was already not part of your plan. Thank you. Actually, I have one more request. If I know this is related to the issue, but not directly related, but if we could get some type of update on what the county is doing with the cost analysis for the closure of Covanta, or what are the future plans, it would be good to get some type of update if you're already talking about waste. It would be very relevant, in our opinion, and it would be in the interest of the public to stay informed and for transparency purposes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll bring it back to the board if there's any questions on item B3. If not, I would like to take all consent items excluding item B2 as a motion.
Motion to approve all consent items with the exception of B2.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Supervisor Withrow and a second by Supervisor Buck-Condit, but we'll be doing a roll call vote since Supervisor Chiesa is joining us from virtually.
District 2 Supervisor Buck-Condit?
Aye.
District 3 Supervisor Withrow?
Yes.
District 5 Supervisor Jans Condit?
Aye.
District 2 Supervisor Vito Chiesa?
Aye.
And District 4 Supervisor Chairman Grewal?
Aye. Right, motion passes 5-0. And now a presentation on item B2, approval of an amendment to the agreement with Aegis Treatment Centers for the provision of narcotic replacement therapy in the amount of $5 million, and Tony Vartan and his team will be presenting on
Good
this
evening, Chairman Graywall, members of the board, CEO Hayes, and County Council Taro. Thank you, Tony Vartan, Behavioral Health Director for Stanislaus County, presenting together with our staff here, Ms. Tabitha Sprague, our Chief of Substance Use Disorder, and Ms. Jennifer Marsh, our Substance Use Prevention Coordinator. And if the pleasure of the board is to present on the item, or should we?
Yeah, if I could,
Sure.
Tony, just real quick. The reason I wanted to pull this was really, we can talk about this, and that's great. But I really wanted to talk about what happened over the weekend, in a 12-hour period, and I wanted to give us kind of a soapbox here to talk about what we're doing here in the county. But over a 12-hour period over the weekend, we lost 4 individuals to fentanyl poisoning, and usually like that's a good thing. Usually it runs about 4 to 5 a week, and then in a 12-hour period we lost. And so it's unbelievable what's going on, and I know that we're doing everything we can. I want you guys to be able to talk about a little bit about what you are doing. Just kind of give us a soapbox here. I know we had as soon as we found out about that, I know social media went out quickly from BHRS, did everything they could to try to. I just thought, let's give this audience a little, not that we have very many people left. I wish we could have kept the kids here before we left, and their parents. But hopefully we can do everything we can to get this out. So that's what the main purpose. I looked for our BHRS item on the agenda and thought this is a perfect thing for us to be able to get you guys up here and get you to talk a little bit about this. So.
Thank you, Supervisor Withrow. We appreciate the opportunity. It is unfortunate that we've had recent loss of lives to fentanyl poisoning and the ongoing challenges that we have with this in our communities and nationally. As you know, that we have been putting a lot of effort on this item through our opioid coalition that involves not only BHRS but other county and private sector agencies in our community, as this is really a collective effort that needs to be present at all times. And despite that, we do see that the numbers still have increased year over year. And this year we've seen out of 53 overall substance use losses, we've had 35 that have been specifically fentanyl poisoning related. And on the other hand, despite the fact that numbers are going up, we do also see that our outreach and access efforts have been also successful as we see a continuous increase in the need for services and individuals seeking treatment services, as evident by 2 BHRS items that you see on the board agenda today. But I'd like to hand this over to Jennifer Marsh, who is very much involved with our coalition, to give us a little highlight about the coalition, just for those who may not be very familiar with, but also talk a little bit about our efforts. So Jennifer, go ahead, and then we can collectively answer any questions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So just one point of clarity, the 4 losses of life on Friday are suspected overdose and poisoning deaths. We won't have definitive proof of the cause of death until the coroner's office finishes their autopsy and as the toxicology comes back. So they are suspected at this point. We don't know definitively that it's fentanyl related. Just want to make that one clarity. That's something that the coroner's office was very intentional about sharing with me when they called me on Friday about it. So yeah, the Stanislaus County Opioid Safety Coalition is a very robust group of both county and also our private and nonprofit agencies, even faith-based, our schools. We have a very, like I said, robust group that is very dedicated to trying to save lives. Some of the efforts that we had recently, which kudos to all of our Board of Supervisors for rocking your One Pill Can Kill shirt 2 weeks ago for National Fentanyl Awareness Day, much appreciated, to get that additional support and information out into the community. On that same day, we were at the Vintage Fair Mall. We had a empty chair display that was out from Friday, May 3rd through National Fentanyl Awareness Day on May 7th. And thousands of people hit the mall every single day shopping. So having that focal point in center court, emphasizing that loss of life. We had 213 chairs out in addition to our Stanhope families representing the lives that we've lost just in 2023 to this. So any ways we have an opportunity to engage, we're happy to do that. We've got some movie theater ads running. If you've been to the movies this month or planning on going next month, you'll see one of our 3 30-second ads that are running in all the movie theaters in English and Spanish. That's in partnership with our Stanhope families, which are the individuals that have lost loved ones in our county to an overdose and poisoning death. That same ad is also running on TV and streaming ads that will run through the end of June, and that is on English and Spanish as well. So any opportunities we have with grant funding and resources, we put towards educating our community. We've distributed thousands of units of Narcan, also fentanyl test strips and xylazine test strips in our community. All those are free and available to anyone in Stanislaus County through our office. What else could I add for you?
I think that's good. I just again wanted to give you guys the opportunity to talk about all you're doing. I know we've had presentations here before, and I think, and Ruben pointed it out to me, just the fact that we know in real time that, like I said, on Friday you get a phone call from the coroner's office to say this is what potentially has happened. It used to be, like as Ruben pointed, it used to be months would go by before we had the data to really, but you guys are on this thing so quickly. I just want to commend you on what you're doing, and just stress, that's why we're having you here, just to talk about this, to stress, like you don't need to you know this, but for the public, everything that we can do to get them to know what's going on out there right now. And it's all preventable. And so I appreciate you guys taking the time, coming up here, using this agenda item to do it, and all the work you guys are doing. So keep up the good work. And anything that we can do to help you with that, please reach out to us.
Thank you, Supervisor Woodrow. And I must add that really, as Jennifer mentioned, with the coalition, it's a multi-agency effort. There is a big piece from a really law enforcement and the DA. Our DA is here, Jeff Lucero, who really contribute to that factor. And there are some challenges with that, but definitely our DA has taken some very strong position on this with reference to prosecution. Now that I don't want to speak to him for him, he's sitting back there, but it's a collective effort, and we are also having some additional conversations internally with our other county departments, including our public health, to look at additional efforts to further support our coalition.
Very good. That's great. Thank you, Tony, very much. And Jeff, yes, thank you. I know you're prosecuting some of these people, so we very much appreciate that. So thank you guys very much. Sorry to pull you up here really quick. Jennifer, good thing I didn't have your cell number. I was making all these phone calls last night. I was trying to get you last night. Thank you guys very much.
Right. Any members of the public, any questions? No. All right, I'm going to bring it back for a possible motion.
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendations for item 6B2.
Second.
B2, yeah. All right, and I have a motion by Supervisor Withrow, second by Supervisor Chance Condit. If I can get a roll call vote, please.
District 1 Supervisor Condit.
Aye.
District 2 Supervisor Chiesa.
Aye.
District 3 Supervisor Withrow.
Yes.
District 5 Supervisor Condit.
Aye.
And District 4 Supervisor Chairman Grewal.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, so no public hearings tonight? Oh, thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. No public hearings tonight, no discussion items, correspondence, acknowledge receipt of correspondence, and refer as recommended on the agenda. Board of Supervisor reports. Supervisor Chance Condit.
Thank you, Chairman Graywall. I do want to report that over the weekend we had our 17th community cleanup in District 5. The cleanup took place in South Modesto in the Park Lawn community, and we filled 14 bins to the brim. So it was a great day. I want to thank all of our volunteers and community members for making it a success, and you know, we hope to continue these efforts. So thank you very much.
Yes, we had the President of the Senate Pro Tem, come down this week in a few roundtables held throughout the day. And one of them were particularly one that our team was engaged in, the CEO staff, talking about Beam Circular, told them about everything that is going on with Beam Circular. Very impressed. It has been a great last couple of months where we've gotten some statewide attention of people visiting here, and then we've made it a part of the presentations to talk about Stanislaus 2030, the entire Stanislaus 2030 presentation, and Beam Circular and all of that. And he had a lot of questions and was very excited. So it was great to sit in on that conversation with the CEO, his team, and other elected officials throughout Stanislaus County. All right, so legislative, fiscal, and management report, CEO Hayes.
Okay, so we wanted to come back to you and share a little more insight into our reflections on the governor's May budget revise. And so I think just a couple of highlights we want to make sure everyone is tracking is there definitely is a risk for service level reductions that are mainly in the county's health and human service departments. When you read the state budget, you're going to see numerous program area reductions, and just to name a few, I mentioned in the last conversation where public health, we've also identified service reductions in drug treatment. Ironically, we were just talking about drug treatment services. Some of those are on this list as well as some of smaller programs, but related to like our probation department as well. Just to name a few. But what I want to re-emphasize here, a couple of things. First of all, these are proposals that are currently being negotiated between the governor's office and the legislature in Sacramento. The other thing I want to highlight is that as we've researched the potential impacts, we have noticed that some of these targeted reductions at the state level are in programs or service areas in which counties may not be fully utilizing the existing state budget allocations for numerous reasons. It could be that we just haven't been able to fill positions and therefore we're not drawing down all the state funds, or potentially that caseloads at the local level do not require us to fully utilize the allocation from the state of California. So that was kind of, in some of these areas, a little bit of silver lining in terms of what's recommended from the governor. What that ultimately means is, yes, potentially less money to counties, but also maybe not a direct impact in service levels that we can see today, because we are hopeful that in some of these areas we can maintain service. That's not the case for all of them, we think, but we do remain optimistic that we have enough capacity in the organization and a lot of other service opportunities, funding streams that could potentially be used where we can reconnect one program that's been unfunded in one area that maybe we can slide over and reconnect it to funding resources in another state or federal program such as CalAIM or some of the other Medi-Cal expansion programs that continue to be funded by the state of California. And you will find some areas where some of the services potentially had funding redundancy, potential to be funded in one way or another. But this takes a lot of coordination, potentially across organizations, in order to try to braid our funding and reconnect back where we need to. So that is the creativity that goes along with implementing these kinds of reductions that come from either the state or the federal government. And right now, our county departments, mainly in our health and human services area, they are out doing that work to try to figure out what is the best way in which we can minimize impacts at the local level. That's the work that's underway right now. A couple of other comments I want to make. One is that there's a lot of discussion also about the potential for the state of California to freeze any one-time allocations that were committed to local governments, either through grants or special allocations through the state budget. So there's a big concern there. We've identified over $60 million in one-time funding commitments from the state of California over the last couple of years. We count about 33 million or so that we've received deposited in the Treasury, so we feel safe about that. But we're also tracking, over $27 million in state grant funds or one-time funding allocations that have not been received yet at the local level. And when we talk to our representatives in Sacramento, we do learn that all of these things are somewhere in the mix in these negotiations in Sacramento. So the environment has a lot of uncertainty in it right now. We continue to just try to educate our delegation in Sacramento, as well as county representatives there on our behalf, of what potential impacts could be, how these programs are actually utilized at the local level, but also seeking ways and input on how we can maneuver some of our programs into other funded sources that would hopefully minimize impacts. I don't want to sugarcoat this too much. We do expect at some point when this budget is finally negotiated between the legislature and the governor that we'll be back to you reporting out on some specific impacts. But at this point today, it's just too early for us to point to you at exactly where those will occur until that budget deal is reached and until our departments do their good work to minimize the impacts as much as possible. So I'll remind the board and members of the public that we're scheduled to come back here on June 4th, where we're going to present the proposed budget. And at that time, we'll provide another update on decisions being made in Sacramento and how we can protect our existing service levels here in Stanislaus County. So we'll be talking more on June 4th. Thank you.
Supervisor Chiesa did have an announcement that he was wanting to make.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I just wanted, yesterday I attended the Veterans Advisory Commission meeting in Turlock, where Wardy Bruce and Gunner Bruce, as he's well known in the community, he finished his 10-year stint on the commission and has to step down. So there's going to be a vacancy in District 2. And if you spent any time at any veterans event in the South County in the last decade, you would know exactly who Wardy is. He was completely committed. He's over at the VFW in Turlock. He was the commander. He stepped down, but the man has dedicated his entire life to helping veterans. And also there's an at-large position. Melissa had stepped down. So we have to start advertising and really make the commission the best it can be. So that's just a big shout out to Wardy for all this help.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Chiesa. Right. If there are not any other supervisor reports, then call this meeting adjourned at 8:17. Thank you. Next meeting will be Vice Chair Buck.